Hello and welcome to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Grand Arena Championships, Season 20, Week 4, Round 1. My name is Boma Fett. I'm currently 8-1, and I'm facing perhaps my toughest opponent of the season. Let's check it out. Vaapad Crusher. Let's go to the hotbot for a quick comparison. Looking at the hotbot, there's a lot of green on my side and just a little bit of red on Vaapad Crusher's side. That makes it look like I should crush him. I've got a huge advantage, but that's not actually the case. Let's zoom in and take a closer look. In this top section, the first thing that jumps out is kind of a low guild GP for Vaapad Crusher, and this does have an impact on his roster. We'll see that later. In the GAC stats, you can see that Vaapad Crusher is a really good player. Best score of almost 50,000, lifetime banners over 700,000, he's got more undersized victories than I do, 133 clears, over 500 defends, and over 1,600 offensive wins. The ratio of defense to offensive wins is pretty much exactly the same as mine, 32%. So I expect Vaapad Crusher to set a tough defense. The roster summary shows that I have a 230,000 overall GP advantage. I have a tiny advantage in top 80 GP. He has a tiny advantage in top 65 GP. I have 7 more Zetas and a lot more speed at the top of my roster. I have 4 more Gear 13 characters, 9 more Gear 12 characters, and 27 more Gear 11 and above. I have 30 more 6-dot mods, and I do have a lot more mods with high-speed secondaries, but at the very top, the 25 plus, he actually is very close to me. It's at the lower levels that I have the big advantage. Even though I have 4 more Gear 13 characters, the relic summary shows that he has 44 more total relic levels. That's because he takes most of his characters up to Tier 5 and above. Look at this, 7 Tier 7, 1 Tier 8. I have 1 Tier 7 and 1 Tier 8. In the meta character analysis, we see the big advantage for Vaapad Crusher. He has SLKR, it is Relic 8. According to GAC history, he does put SLKR on defense, but he does not do SLK and Prey. He puts several other really good squads on defense as well. He does not have Jedi Knight Luke, but he does have Gaz, Revan, and Malak all relicked up. In the key characters and important ships is where we see the impact of the low guild GP. He does not have Negotiator, and his malevolence is only 5 stars. I am definitely going to be trying to exploit this with my defense. Let's go back to the game and take a closer look at Vaapad Crusher's roster. So here you can see that Vaapad Crusher is using SLKR in the arena and the Malevolence in the fleet arena. This is a little bit surprising given the star levels of his Malevolence fleet. Here are his relic characters, and you'll see that not only does he have his First Order all relicked up for SLKR, but it appears he is now going for Sith Eternal Emperor, because we have Darth Sidious relicked, we have Palpatine at Relic 7, we've got Stark relic, we have Dooku relic. So you're going to see a lot of dark side relics here, but we do also have CLS, we've got a 501st Clone Squad, we've got Emphas Nest, we've got General Kenobi, GMY, Jedi Knight Anakin, Jedi Knight Revan. We've got some Night Sisters as well, and we also have a really good Darth Revan squad. Now that means that you're going to find a lot of characters at Gear 12 and below that I have relicked and that I normally see relicked. Characters like Bosk, Jolie Bindo, Padme Amidala, Separatist droids, Chewbacca, C-3PO, Echo, Wampa, Han Solo, Hermit Yoda, 3PO and Chewie. He does have his Bad Batch up to Gear 8, just like I do, and he has put Zetas on them, so that is a squad that he does use on offense. Okay, let's take a look at the board. Now let me tell you what I'm expecting from him on defense, and then it'll make more sense what I set on defense. So in the top zone, we'll have his SLKR, along with Geonosians and probably Karth or Mon Mothma. So his Relic 8 SLKR is here to prevent anyone from clearing these top two zones. In the bottom, he will have Jedi Knight Revan, Padme, and General Grievous. In the back, you might expect complete garbage, but he actually hides his General Skywalker back here. So Gas will be back here along with Ewoks and Phoenix. So we've got 4 difficult squads here on the bottom. I had to make sure that I saved enough to clear those 4. Now, I had a decision to make. I could save everything I have and get through this SLKR and probably clear the rest of the board. But I would be putting complete garbage on defense, he would full clear me, and it would be an efficiency match. And there's no guarantee I would actually take down that SLKR. I could probably 2-shot it. Or I could try and block him from clearing half of my board, and I can ignore half of his board. So I will clear 8 squads and hope that he clears less than that. So that's the option that I took. So in the top, I've got Nute Gunray, Mothma, and Bam. I'm enticing him to come to this zone. I want him to go through the top because the top is worth fewer banners. Now if he gets through that zone, you'll see that I've put my Negotiator on defense. If I'm not going to be worrying about getting to his fleets, I don't need to save my best fleets for offense. So I've put my Negotiator and my Malevolence here on defense. Hopefully, that stops him from clearing this zone. In the bottom zone, I've put my Darth Revan, Padme, and Gas squads. Now if he gets through that zone, waiting for him in the back here is Kylo Ren Unmasked, General Grievous, and Jedi Training Rey. So what I'm hoping is that he clears this top zone, can't clear my ships, gets to this bottom zone, maybe gets through here. I'm hoping he can't get through here, but if he does, I'm hoping he doesn't have enough left to clear this back zone. Now if he can clear 3 zones, I'm sunk. I'm only going to clear 2 of his zones. So I hate playing this way. I always like to go for the full clear, but I felt like this was my best shot at getting a win. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm actually quite worried that it won't. So we've got a little under 2 hours left in the setup phase. We'll come back then and see if my predictions about his defense are correct. Alright, I'd love to wait until tomorrow to make my attacks so that I can see what Vaapad Crusher does against my defense, but I'm going to be on the road tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to wait. So let's take a look at the board. His defense is exactly what I was expecting. Top zone is SLKR, and he's got Karth and Geonosians. The bottom zone is Padme, Grievous, and Jedi Knight Revan. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here right off the top. I'm going to go after Grievous with Night Sisters. I tried this last round against a very similar Grievous squad, and it failed. So it wouldn't surprise me if this fails again. This is a very well-modded Grievous, and the lower geared other droids, if they die quickly, Grievous will get a lot of turns in a row, and that could be disastrous. But we're going to try this just on the off chance I might be able to save one of my better squads to try against that SLKR. Go for the stun. Go for the stun. Do the plague. Remove the damage immunity from Droideka. Try and knock down some stacks. No, let's go for the stun. There we go. We'll assist from the grave. Keep assisting from the grave. Bring them back. Get rid of the taunt. Bring them back. We need Spirit to go, but she's not going to. Hopefully... here it is. Get rid of the damage immunity. Perfect. Big hit went against Droideka. An assist from the grave. Don't go after Daka, you jerk. Bring him back. More plague, more plague. There we go. Okay, 55. Okay, this Padme squad is very slow. So I am going to go with the Traya counter. Take Nest out. Get Thrawn in. And a tank. I'm going to go with GBA as the tank. Now that takes away the Geos as a squad for me, but I don't think I will need them. Of course, GBA is not the tank, it's the Brute that's the tank. So we pass this to Traya. Traya isolates Padme. We go to work on Anakin. Actually, I'm just going to go to work on Kenobi until we get him fractured. There we go. Increase the cooldowns, put out the pain. Wow, one shot there on the Brute. That's why we have him. Bring the Brute back. Let's see if we can get a stun here. There we go. this to Nihilus. Increase cooldowns again. Bring back the brute once again. I'm going to just keep hitting Kenobi here so that he doesn't taunt. Okay, we can fracture him. Now he won't taunt. Pain. Go after Anakin. Eliminate Anakin. Okay. Put the Isolate on Padme again. Probably get rid of Barriss. Held by Hatred. Kenobi is no longer taunting. Gonna have to go faster here. Flip this back here. Fracture. Get rid of Kenobi. I'm going to go ahead and put this on auto. You know what? I'm not going to put it on auto because what if she isolates the wrong person? Gotta keep that isolate on Padme. Oh, why did I do that? That doesn't make sense. I took way too much time. I end up timing out against these two. That's disappointing. Unbelievable. Alright, so I played that poorly. I was just taking way too much time at the beginning of the match. Darn it. Okay. $40 banners. Very disappointing. What I'd like to do is save my Jedi Revan and Jedi Knight Luke to use against SLKR. Okay, I'm going to do this. This will save Bastila to go with Jedi Knight Luke. I'll be missing Jedi Knight Revan's mark, for sure. No, whatever. I'm going to mark Juhani. She's low gear level. We'll go after this guy. Oh, that wouldn't work with tenacity up on everybody. That was dumb. Call Yoda. We'll spread some buffs. Pass turn leave it to Yoda. Get rid of him before he can bring anybody back. Alright. A taunt. Call Yoda. Spread the buff. Revan. Let's see if we can get Jolie healed up. We may lose Ezra here. I think it'll just proc Savior, though. $56. Alright, there's General Skywalker in the back, as expected. Oh, we got Mon Mothma instead of Phoenix. Okay. So against Skywalker, we're going to take CLS. We'll kneel down. We'll go after 5s now. Let's go ahead and blind them. He stood up. He's doing a lot of damage. Come on. This. Kneel down. Get rid of Rex. Ooh. Okay, it's gonna work, but it's gonna be bad banners. That was dicey. Alright, so we're gonna come up here. We're gonna go Bounty Hunters against the Geonosians. Taunt. Call the Mass Assist. Call the mass assist. Go ability blocks. Let's see if we can get a stun on somebody here. And goodbye, Alpha. Keep the taunt up. Call another mass assist. Soldier. Looks like everybody's healed up. And goodbye, Spy. Get 60 there. Karth with Wampa. I've been using my Bad Batch against Karth lately, but this Karth squad has Wampa. I'm going to try Bad Batch here. It may not work because of that Wampa, but we'll see. Turn meter going. Let's see if we can get some stuns. Excellent. Everybody's stunned. What does this do? Somehow Hunter throws his knife at one person and it hurts everybody. It's like a magic knife. It bounces around. It's 60 banners. I'm going to go back here. We're going to do a nest solo against the Ewoks. We will target the Elder and put it on auto. Three banners there. Against Mon Mothma, we're going to go with Imperial Troopers. Push back perimeter. My pal. Jin. Robot. Dark Trooper. That's his name. Okay, so now I kind of have two squads to use here. I've got Palpatine and Vader. This is not an ideal squad. Normally you want Traya and Thrawn to go with these two.
Okay, so the idea here is not to actually win. I just want to get out, probably Red Trooper, get out somebody, maybe Hux. Huh, that was brilliant. Do this. Force Crush. Not close. I don't have a pre-taunt to put in here. I'd like a pre-taunt. I'll give the weapon spec to Luke. Beautiful. This is going to come down to Luke versus everybody. He got his ultimate really quick there. Okay, let's stun. Yeah, no chance. Okay, so 1874 is my total. I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit over that Padme. But if I hadn't tried to save anybody to go against SLKR, I would have been wondering the whole time after that if I maybe could have taken out SLKR. So I cleared 2 zones. I'm hoping he only clears 1. Or he struggles more than I did in clearing 2.
Alright, so there is the loss. Let's see what Vaapad Crusher did against my defense. So this bottom front zone I hoped would stop him, and it clearly did not. He one-shot Darth Revan, he one-shot Padme, and it took him 2 to get through gas. In the back zone, he one-shot all 3 of these squads. In the top zone, he one-shot Mothma. It took him 2 to get through Beskar Mando and 3 to get through Newt. So he was scraping the bottom of the barrel here. So what this comes down to is, I talked at the beginning about having 2 options, either going all in on SLKR or going all in on defense, and I didn't really do either one. I kind of tried to split the difference. If I really was going to go all in on defense, I should have put my Jedi Knight Luke on defense. And had I done that, I think I probably would have stopped him. Now, it's possible he still might have cleared all 3 of my squad zones. Maybe he knows more counters than I do. I don't know everything about this game. There are a lot of players out there that are better than I am. But like I said, he was scraping the bottom of the barrel to get through that Newt Gunray squad. I'm going to be really curious to see the GAC history, to see what he did to clear that final zone. Because looking at his roster, I can't figure it out. I have no idea what he was using there. So at this point, I've had some people ask me my opinion about the changes that are coming to the game. If you'd like to hear me rant a little bit about that, you can stick around. If not, I'd like to say thank you to Vaapad Crusher for the match, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you next round. Alright, so looking at this match, does it look like they need to buff the Galactic Legends to protect the Galactic Legends against those pesky non-Galactic Legend squads? Does it look like they really need to? I would say no. I would say absolutely not. Now, I understand that there are some things with ignoring defense that they needed to fix in order to create new kits. But this whole idea of we want Galactic Legends on a tier far above everything else and nothing else can touch it, they're unassailable, I think that's bad for the game. I've been talking about it since Galactic Legends came out. I think that Galactic Legends broke the game for precisely that reason. Because look what happens. My opponent did not have a superior roster to mine. I had a far superior roster. I had better mods, I had more depth, I had way more in terms of fleets. He's completely ignored fleets for the most part. But he had the Galactic Legend that I couldn't beat. And they want to make it to guarantee I can't beat that Galactic Legend. To guarantee it. Now what that's going to do is it's going to push people to get Galactic Legends as quickly as possible, as soon as they can. So you're going to have people in Division 7, Division 8 who are getting Galactic Legends. And their roster is going to be all one faction to get that Galactic Legend. They're going to have one unstoppable Galactic Legend team, one secondary all-relicked up team with some crap, people like Rose Tico, relicked up, because they're required to get the Galactic Legend, and very little else in their roster. Is that good for the game? Is that how the developers think people should play this game? They think people should have shallow, top-heavy rosters instead of depth and balance? Because that's what they're pushing toward. They're pushing toward people having terrible rosters. I think it's bad for the game. I think Galactic Legends have always been bad for the game. SB Crumb the other night was on the Gambit podcast, and he said something to the effect of, when you have one character that can completely nullify all the other characters on the other side, that's a problem. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. He was talking about characters like Darth Vader, characters that are not Galactic Legends being able to wipe out other squads. And particularly characters like Darth Vader being able to counter Galactic Legends. But what he was really describing was Galactic Legends. Galactic Legends are specifically designed to be a single character that wipes out, that nullifies the entire other side. And I agree with him. That's bad. That's bad for the game. And yet that's what they designed. They did it on purpose. And now they're making changes to solidify that. That doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense at all. Now you might say, well, people put a lot of investment into those Galactic Legends, and so you have to protect that investment or people will become disillusioned. Guess what? Number one, they don't need protecting. They're already head and shoulders above all the other characters in the game. But number two, I've put a lot of work into my roster without a Galactic Legend. I've put the same amount of resources into my roster as somebody with a Galactic Legend has put into theirs. They've just focused theirs on one particular faction to get that one Galactic Legend character. And I've spread my resources out so that I have depth and balance in my roster. They're telling me that that's not the way they want people to play the game. They're telling me that the resources that I've put into my roster are inferior. They're less valuable than the resources that somebody else puts into a Galactic Legend. But I'll tell you what, it's more difficult to build a good, deep roster. To get a Galactic Legend, you read through the list and you go for that Galactic Legend. You just get those characters, boom, 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 done. But to go through and build each faction, that takes more work. It takes more foresight. It takes better understanding of how to mod each faction. The other thing SB Crumb said was, Galactic Legends, these are endgame content, and we don't want people who are not endgame being able to beat the endgame content. Well, guess what? Galactic Legends are not endgame content. People can start going for Galactic Legend day one. There's nothing that prevents people in low divisions from getting Galactic Legends, and there are people in low divisions that have Galactic Legends. If they want to make Galactic Legends endgame content, then make them endgame content. Say you can't go for a Galactic Legend until you reach 5.5 million, 6 million. You can't go for a Galactic Legend until you're Division 4. But they're not endgame content. That is completely false. Completely false. So, I've always thought Galactic Legends are broken. I've always thought they're bad for the game. And by solidifying their position, by protecting them the way that they're protecting them, and making it so that they're going to be virtually uncounterable. Now, Crumb said, well, now, hold on, you still may be able to come up with something. There are great theory crafters in this game. Okay, but for the most part, they are making a lot of changes that are specifically designed to keep Galactic Legends safe from everything else. By doing that, I think they're further hurting the game. I could be wrong. I'm willing to admit, we'll see. I know there are people who originally didn't like Galactic Legends who now say, you know what, Galactic Legends are fine. It's okay. Everybody has one or two or three or four. And so it's okay. Guess what? Not everybody has one. Not everybody wants one. Some of us think they're stupid. I don't want a character that's so overpowered. I think that's dumb. And no, they're not the same as when Darth Revan came out. No, they're not the same as when Gas came out. They're not. And this proves it. The fact that they're going to these lengths to protect these characters. It's dumb. Relic 9, way too soon. In fact, here's something funny. Before they made the announcement about Relic 9, I actually commented on one of Zareth's videos that they should cap the Galactic Legends at Relic 8. And they should make Relic 9 the cap for legendary characters. Hero's Journey, Confrontation characters, those kinds of characters. Make that the cap. 9 is the cap for them. And then Relic 10 is the cap for the rest of the characters. So that it brings more balance, so that you've got characters that you can take to Relic 10 in order to boost them, to make them usable. We've got so many characters in this game that are absolute crap. They're taking the time to rework characters that are really good in order to make them worse in some ways. I know in other ways they're boosting them. People are going to tell me that. I need to see what actually happens with them. But in some ways they are nerfing those characters. So they're taking the time to do that, but they won't take the time even to just give a damage boost to some of those early game characters. Mace Windu would be usable if he just did double the amount of damage that he does, or triple the amount of damage that he does, whatever it is. Just give him a damage boost. Everybody talks about Dark Trooper is such a great character. What makes Dark Trooper a great character? He does a ton of damage. That's it. That's it. If he didn't do a ton of damage, he wouldn't be that great. So just look at those early game characters and just boost their stats. That's all they need to do. They could probably come up with some sort of a macro that they could run that would look at all the characters, and if they didn't have a certain level of damage, just boost them up to a new minimum. Like, this is the minimum damage for all characters. Boom. That's all you have to do to make those characters usable. But the fact that we've got so many crap characters in this game, that's a complete waste. And rather than making those characters usable, making them good so that you want to gear them up, instead they make them requirements for other characters, so you have to gear them up. You have to put relics on them. I think that's bad for the game. I don't want to relic up crap characters. That's one of the reasons I don't want a Galactic Legend. I want to build my roster how I want to build my roster. But now, if I want to stay competitive, I need to get a Galactic Legend. So I've actually been working toward Jedi Master Luke. I've got all the characters to Gear 13 that I need. I've been working to get the relic mats that I need to get them all to relic. I've got a whole bunch of characters that are really low relic or relic 0. They're Gear 13 with no relic. Those are the characters I need for Jedi Master Luke. And once I get enough relic mats saved up to get them all to the relic levels they need to be, then I'll start putting the relics on them. But I'm not going to do it early because it'll boost my GP and I'll get worse matchups. Got to be strategic in the way you build your roster, but that's not what CG is asking us to do. That's not what they want. That's not what this move encourages. It encourages you to build your roster wrong. That's what I think. All right, so that's my rant. Thank you if you stuck around and listened to it. I will see you next round.